How to do a feasibility study. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about what a feasibility study is, where it lands in the process, and this is important because everybody should understand what this is all about, even if you're not a developer or a designer or an owner's representative. Everybody should know what this is, so I'm going to talk to you about what it is and give you the key steps and why it matters to us. If you're interested in that, please stay with us on this video. Okay, let's talk about what a feasibility study is. A feasibility study is basically a should we do this and can we do this analysis. And it is tied to whether or not building this project will be effective, possible, and profitable. Okay, so is this feasible? Do we want to do it? Sure. Do we want to make money? Yeah. Does the city want developments in their city? Probably. But is it feasible? With all of the constraints that you have to deal with and knowing how that all turns into kind of an overall business plan for this project. It really happens before you commit to serious money on the project. So design, engineering, or building. And it's really meant to de-risk the project so we know we have a path to win. Really think of it like a go, no-go filter. Okay, so let me go ahead and talk to you about the how. And I'll give you the list and it'll probably go pretty fast. But then I want to talk about how it affects us and why it's important for us to know. So before we begin, let me say, here are the questions. Can we build it? Should we build it? And what will it take if we do? So that everybody, all stakeholders, know what we're getting into and are in alignment with any authorities having jurisdiction or investors or banks, everybody, to make sure that it's absolutely feasible. I've actually been in situations where a developer wants to execute a project. The city is totally on board. The designers are totally on board. The authorities having jurisdiction were all on board, but the banks were not on board, meaning that the deal, which would affect their ultimate pro forma, really wasn't possible for this type of a site. And so literally design goes through, the city issues permits, the construction team is ready to go, like everybody's committed, and then the project gets shut down. And that is just very, very detrimental, not only to human beings, but now that developer has to figure out what to do with the land and a number of other things. So we really ought to do a super darn good job of this. Now, a lot of times people will buy land and then do the official full-blown feasibility study. We should do some due diligence before that so we're not wasting a lot of money. But if you're going through the official process, that's right after your concept design. And it's before schematic design, design development, and your construction drawing. Before you're committing a lot of money, you're going forward with design, you're going forward with permitting, you're committing a contractor, the whole nine, you're going to do this feasibility study. So we're going to start out with site feasibility. This is where you're going to map out your zoning and land restrictions, utilities, power, water, and sewer. Do we have those available? Soil conditions, grading, and environmental issues that you might have to deal with. And then access, traffic, and logistics. For instance, you might want a 5-story building, but you may only be allowed to do 3. And that actually ties into permits and your authority having jurisdiction and your financial strategy as well. You need to make sure that your actual site will be feasible from a permitting and design standpoint, but also a financial standpoint. Number 2, technical feasibility. Can the design actually work? Are structural systems constructible? Do we have available materials and trades? Like for instance, and this is silly, but if like you're building in the north of Canada or out on an island, that's a pretty big consideration. And complexity. How hard is this thing to build? Number 3, financial feasibility. What is the rough order of magnitude cost estimate? What is the return on investment? That's a big one. And what are your funding options? This is actually where I have sadly been, I'll say, let myself down because deals have gone south in the past because we didn't look deeply enough into financial feasibility. The other thing, number 4, is your schedule feasibility. And this is big. I talk about this all the time. Can you build this with the duration, with general conditions and general requirements for an overall budget that meets your pro forma? Number 5, legal and regulatory feasibility. Can you meet the permitting requirements? Can you make sure that it's code compliant for what you want to do? Can you comply with any environmental regulations? And what about easements and entitlements? And then number 6, operational feasibility. Will this take care of your ultimate end goal? So we want to check all of these things before schematic design, before the owner starts to invest a lot of money to make sure that the project is feasible. Basically, this is confirmation. It's kind of like mapping your route to the airport. Like I came to the filming set here today and I mapped the route to the airport. And it said, yes, in fact, the roads and the freeways are open and you can hit green lights. So it doesn't mean that all lights will be green all the time, but it means that you can get through them and get to the airport on time, I might add, and make your trip. So the feasibility study is important, and here's what I want to say. We, as the general contractor, trade partners, owners, reps, wherever you are, will usually help with this. Now, this is mainly a design team and developer type activity, but we have to make sure that we're falling within these parameters, we know these parameters, and we're abiding by these parameters, and that we're assisting along the way, especially when it comes to finances and schedule. So this is a very important part of the process, and I hope now by knowing it that your overall experience in construction is bettered. I'm going to turn this into a little blog post in the description below and invite you to reach out to me if you ever have any questions. I hope you've loved this video. On we go.